I died 8 years ago. It wasn't particularly tragic or unusual, just a car accident. I don't blame the man who hit me. He was speeding because his wife was in labor. There was black ice on the road. He lost control of his car and I lost my life. Hey, shit happens. It's not his fault. I know that. I'm not cruel. I'm not vengeful. If anything, I'm the opposite. You see, I didn't have much family left anyways when it happened. I lost my few friends around that time. When it was time for my funeral, the only people who came were my boss and the family of the man who killed me. The wife held her newborn daughter close to her chest. I hated my boss, and the cemetery was awful lonely, so I followed the family home. Lily may as well have been my own flesh and blood. She was sweet and bright and oh so very small. Sometimes she had trouble sleeping, especially if somebody wasn't rocking her crib for her, and her parents were tired all the time. After they put her to bed, it was easy for me to rock the crib for her. I didn't get tired. I never did. I could help her. As the years passed, Jack and Lori realized they weren't alone in the house. It didn't take long for them to make a connection between my funeral and when I had showed up. I'd never been malevolent, so they weren't afraid or angry. In fact, they started to burn candles on the anniversary of my death. They left an empty chair for meals and holidays. I really felt like a member of the family. Someone is trying to force the door. It's Lori's ex. He's obsessive. He's angry. He's gonna hurt the family. He's gonna hurt my family. See, the thing about ghosts, the more offerings you get, the stronger you become. I've been enjoying candles, trinkets, and even the occasional food item for the past 5 years. I was strong from that. The knife felt warm in my hand. You see, my family will join me someday. But damn it, they're not gonna join me yet. It was every family's nightmare. My wife and I had the day off of work. We had taken our son out for lunch and some family bonding time. But as we approached our home, something felt off. I had a growing sense of dread the closer we got. As our home came into view, I could see the front door was ajar. Someone had broken into our house, I thought. I told my family to wait outside, in case the intruder was still in there. They obliged, and I slowly and silently made my way through our house. As I stepped into the living room, I saw broken furniture, nothing in its correct place, and utter chaos. Was this person looking for something? Did they have malicious intent? Why our home? Why us? Next, I walked to our kitchen. The fridge had been emptied. Dishes and food were thrown all about. What kind of person had broken into our home? A homeless man? Somebody who needed food? If so, why did they destroy the whole living room? That's when I heard it. Footsteps in the bedroom. The intruder was still in our house. I took a brief moment to be grateful that I had asked my wife and son to wait outside. It was impossible to decipher this person's motive so far, but I was about to come face to face with that person who had forcefully entered our home, and I would demand answers. I crept towards the bedroom. Slowly, I approached the door and focused on the sliver of light slipping through the crack. I could see faint shadows dancing in the light. I raised my hand and placed it against the door and took a deep breath, readying myself for whatever may be on the other side. I pushed the door open and stepped through the threshold with authority. I couldn't believe my eyes. I actually rubbed my hands over them, thinking I was imagining things. There in my son's bed, a young girl with curly blonde hair. She stared at me with her wide eyes. She must have been terrified. I must have been a few feet taller and at least 100 pounds heavier than her. I must have been a sight to see for that little girl, but she shouldn't have considered that before breaking into my home. I called my wife and son to see what I found. "Is that a human, Papa?" my son asked. "Yes, it is, baby bear. And that human is about to be dinner." You know that gut feeling you get when something is about to go wrong? Like your instinct. I felt that about 15 minutes ago. I work a usual office job out in the city, 9 to 5, but my boss told me to finish up on a few things before I leave, so I've been here for about an extra 2 hours today. There's no one in the building, and if there is, the cleaners are most likely getting ready to end their shifts and leave for the night. I thankfully finished my paperwork. Waste of time in my opinion. My boss wouldn't read over it anyway, but what he says goes. Sorting my things into their piles, I headed for a secretary's desk, frowning when I noticed all the main lights were off. But I ignored it, and dropped the pile of paperwork on her desk. That's when I heard this blood-curdling scream. Freezing! I felt goosebumps form on my arms and legs, and a cold chill ran up my spine. I slowly walked through the halls and listened for any noise. At this time, it's dark, really dark. The glass walls that split the main offices from each other remind me of a mirror maze, making me feel a little on edge. Hello? I called out loudly. No response. My instinct was telling me to escape, to get the hell out and leave. I glanced through offices, opened doors, and repeatedly checked behind me, but there was nobody there. I shook off the feeling in my stomach and headed back to my office to retrieve my things. I sat down in my chair, leaning back and sighing loudly, tired, sleep-deprived, and on edge. My eyes fluttered, softly, shooting open abruptly when I heard a woman whisper in my ear quietly. So quiet I thought I had made it up. I looked around, searching for someone, anyone, but again, nobody but me. It's been approximately 20 minutes from then, and I haven't moved. I'm terrified. I'm too scared to look away from my phone. The glow of my screen feels safer, rather than what I feel like I'm seeing in my peripherals. She's just smiling. Her body is strangely contorted, and her eyes are very wide. She looks so far, but feels close. Too close. Like I can feel her breathing on my neck. When you get that feeling deep in your gut, and I'm saying when because someday you will, do not do as I do. Listen to that feeling and get out, because you have no idea what is waiting for you in the future. You have no idea what is waiting for you in the dark.